Sure. Can you hear me okay?
Can.
Great. Well, yes, we spent a few lovely weeks doing the data collection. It was quite an event. There were probably about 150 various role players and stunt actors that were part of this. It was really amazing to witness it, the sort of the choreography of all of those people for all of those days producing the data set. And perhaps what was the most interesting to observe is the public safety stunt actors that we had, who were really professional trainers for public safety and know their job and know how to train others and know about all of the different events that we were looking to represent in the data collection. They were incredibly professional and incredibly good at what they do. And I think that in terms of one of the key characteristics of the data was to make it realistic, was incredibly successful. I thought that not only did I think, but some of the role players who witnessed and were really part of the event and around the stunt actors that were performing a lot of these various events. Some of them afterwards would ask, like, was that a real fight? I mean, did that really happen? Or did this really kind of go on? It looked so they were just wondering whether these were real things that were going on or that was part of the choreography of the event themselves. So it was really kind of hot, but everybody, worked real hard. And the other thing that was really impressive was a lot of the role players that were part of it. There were a lot of people that were brought on, and they made a kind of a great contribution, being very realistic in, kind of filling out the day in the life of ASAP City, and have a lot of good stuff that was put into it. They were really into it. We would meet every day in a big auditorium, go through what the plan for the day was, go over what what we had kind of learned overnight and what we were looking for them. Got some really good input from them, and sometimes we would translate some input we got from public safety to the role players as well. And then we would also do this in the evening, and go over how the day's events went. And so some of the feedback we got was that by doing this, the everybody really was very engaged and aware of all that was going on and what we were trying to accomplish. So ultimately, we got a really bought in, collection of people that were part of this. The professional stunt actors that we had were really amazing at their execution, and all of the role players like really enjoyed playing that part and really focused on all of the little details that we were asking them to complete in doing this. It's a huge effort just to get the whole, not just the city stage the way that we wanted it to. It's not like it's a complete Hollywood set, but we wanted to make it very realistic. So there was a lot of work in terms of putting together some props and things to make it look like the real city that we intended it to be. So there was a lot of work that would go in either before or in the evenings to adjust some of those sets to put them all together in the first place. So it was pretty cool to watch, a lot of that in action. And then there were a lot of people that brought their own props to make it more realistic as well. So so all in all, it was a really exciting event for everyone. We spent some time talking to some of the people that do this for. There's there's a community of folks that act as role players for doing different kinds of events similar to this. And the thing that they noted about this particular collection was that engagement and how we brought them into what the goals were, and how to be kind of the best role players they can be, in the context of what the overall intent of this data collection effort was all about. And I think those kind of stand up meetings in the morning, and then the kind of the hot wash discussions we had at the end of the day were all a means to be able to achieve that. So the last thing that I would want to suggest is that we had a very strict safety plan in place that we kind of stood up when we first got there, and really controlled the group and how we interacted, and made sure that we continue to focus on everybody's kind of safety and security there. Had professional medics on board. We didn't have anything serious happen while we were there. And I think about the worst thing that happened was we created a set that was a little too close to a infested area of bees, and so we had some bee stings that we had to deal with. And obviously, the next day we moved that set to somewhere where we wouldn't have to fight bees to be able to, produce what we were looking to do. So lots of little things like that ended up occurring. So that would be kind of my sort of summary of how things went. Got some really
That's
good
great,
data.
Jeff. Well, I guess it's good that I didn't go after all, because I would have, if I had been on that B set, I would have ended up spending most of my time at the hospital waiting to see if I had a reaction, which maybe that would have been the emergency event to detect.
Yeah, possibly. The other, just as another example, some people were so into we were trying to make it realistic what you would do in the city and in the parks, and people would strike up wiffle ball games or other kinds of games going on. And, I think someone might have got hit in the face with a soccer ball. This is kind of maybe one little thing that happened. And that was kind of created a little stir and injury. But most of the different injuries that we had were not any kind of serious things. But whenever you have that many people that are together, and, effectively you're planning for these emergency events occurring, different things could happen. But really, it was pretty smoothly run, and there was a infrastructure of support staff there to make sure that we, closely monitored, everything, and adjusted as things went on if it was necessary. So.
Well, that's a great preview. I know the team is just getting back and is starting to go through all of the video and data and other information. And I know you guys are excited with being able to share more stories over the coming weeks and months.
Yeah, I think we hope to be able to have a much more robust discussion about this, perhaps during the wrap-up workshop that'll be at the end of September. We took a lot of good kind of pictures, videos, and obviously a lot of things we want to be able to share. You might be too close to the data set itself that we'll be releasing, but some of the stuff, in terms of behind the scenes and things that we've, that we did, and how we kind of set up and coordinated things, would be interesting, I think, for folks that are going to be using this data set in the future for doing some of the analytics. And I think the biggest thing, though, is to really understand the goal of this is to really leverage a lot of the technical expertise that exists, bring it into the realm of public safety. And in order to do that, it's really imperative to have a good set of realistic data to work with. And I think that, this has been achieved, over the last couple of weeks. It's going to be a really great set of data that the contestants will have, both on the training side to familiarize themselves with the streams that we're going to be working with, and to utilize in the contest itself. Once the contest 2 is actually launched, we've got some really good sets of data, and there's also virtual data that's being built around this as well. Some of it was done there, and some of it we're still kind of tweaking and adding to it. So it's not just going to be the live data, but really the full embodiment of the multiple modes of data that ASAPS is really focused on. So, and just like doing this live data, we have professionals that are experienced at doing this and what happens when producing the so while it might not be live actual filming of something, the data that we're also including as part of this will also be very realistic in terms of what happens from a social media standpoint, from a 911 standpoint. So
that's also great, Jeff. That's really helpful to get some of that background information. We thought it might be fun for everyone to start off with a little bit of background on the data events that we had shared with you a couple weeks ago on one of our previous webinars, but we wanted to reserve the bulk of the time today for that countdown to Friday's submissions. Yancey, I wonder if you could forward to that timeline slide for us. We do have Friday as our deadline, so 4 days and counting until submissions are due. And really, we wanted to just open this up, this webinar, host this webinar to give you an opportunity to ask any last questions about how you get your submissions taken care of. And then we also have HeroX on the phone here. We've got on the webinar here with Kyla. If you have any technical questions about getting those submissions submitted this week. So whether you start typing anything in the chat box there, or if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself one by one and ask any questions that you might have. I don't see anything in the chat box yet. I know we've received a few submissions already. And in terms of giving you guys a time frame, and please just speak up at any point here if you have questions, but in terms of giving you kind of a countdown this week, submissions, like it says, are due by Friday, and then we'll be reviewing all of the submissions over the next few weeks, and then the winner announcement will be made in September at our wrap-up workshop, which we are scheduling at the end of September, September 22nd and 23rd, correct, Cassandra? And we will be, yes, go ahead, Cassandra.
Yep, that's it's the 23rd and sorry, 23rd and 24th of September.
And we will just be posting a save the date on the HeroX website over the next couple of days to give you a little bit more information about that wrap-up workshop. But one of the highlights of that will be the announcement of the winners of this contest. So just in terms of giving you all an overview time frame for what to expect. Any questions at this point before? Stephen, I see you have a question. Let's see if I can bring that up. You're wondering what information fusion topic 2 and event analysis topic 3 should be based on, while the input from topic 1 is not clear yet. Does it mean that a topic 2 proposal might always be coupling with a topic 1 proposal? Can the expectations of topic 2 and 3 be more clarified? Thanks. Jeff, before I take a stab at that one, do you have anything you wanted to contribute on that one?
Sure. So the way that these contests were designed in this contest 1, or the topics, I should say, was to provide sort of independent topical areas that, each contestant, you could submit a proposal for each topic or multiple topics. And so you could submit something for topic 1 on the extraction and not worry about others. Likewise, if your focus was on the fusion of the data that's extracted, you could focus on topic 2 or topic 3. So different people have different forms of expertise in this field. But, in terms of topic 1 was about kind of the extraction and how to extract the data. 2 and 3 was about the fusion of the data and then reporting of that data. So how you would represent this in terms of public safety. So you wouldn't necessarily need to have anything on topic 1, how you extract data, if your focus was on, and your expertise is in the fusion of the data. So they're all kind of independent. There was the 4th category, which was the sort of the end-to-end solution, which is for folks that have a solution or ideas or some kind of innovative thoughts on how you would go from, topic 1, the extraction, to the fusion, to the reporting side. So if you have a more holistic view on how to kind of solve the issues, then you would focus on that side of it. So really there was sort of a hierarchy where you had the 3 different topics, which are all independent. And then you had the 4th topic, which was the integration of 1, 2, and 3. So that would be my explanation of that question, if I understood it correctly.
Yancy, could you, with that in discussion in mind, can you bring up the slide that has the contest table prize structure slide? In the meantime, Stephen, does that answer your question? Well, we will move on. There is another question, Jeff. I don't know if you've seen it in the chat feature around understanding of the current state-of-the-art emerging trends, the 6,000 characters minimum section. The question is specifically about the description there and what this field exactly means. Please describe your understanding of the current state of the art for this field and the emerging trends.
Sure. So in this part of the submission, depending on which one of the topical areas that you're kind of submitting under, essentially it is is sort of level setting on your perspective on the current state of the art of how that topic is being addressed. So for the sake of of an example in extraction, what is your understanding of the current state in extraction of, from the data? And then are there emerging trends in that state of the art? And so that really provides, it's really for you to provide an explanation of your view of what the environment is that you're kind of going to provide your solution to. And then kind of the next part of it is for you, kind of state the gap that you see in this case, extraction. So, the current state of the art can do X, Y, and Z, but really I see a key challenge relates to, G, and you define what G is, and then that really kind of tees up what your solution is So my solution to address G, which is the gap in where we are today and what's emerging, is to do, whatever, 1, 2, 3 are the things that I would want to do. So really what it is about kind of defining, here's where this is what exists today. Here's some things that are emerging. There's a key gap, in this particular area that I see as really critical. And I have a solution to address that real critical gap. So that is the intent behind that aspect of the submission.
That sounds good. It looks like you answered his question and it was understood. They have another question, and Kyla, this might be more for you about the format of the submission. LaTeX PDF, is that appropriate?
Yeah, sorry, I was just coming off mute. First, this is in the submission forms, those questions that you see in the challenge guidelines, you'll actually type in your answer into the form field, and you can use copy and paste if you work elsewhere, but you do need to enter the information directly into the form field. There are some spots for optional uploads, so you can include, a PDF of kind of citations or things like that. But I would highly suggest, right after this webinar, go in, start your submission, take a look at what it looks like and what the format is. You can actually create a draft and save and edit up until the final submission deadline. Even if you click that submit final entry button, we'll still let you withdraw it and make edits prior to the deadline. So I highly suggest everyone goes on and takes a look so that you understand exactly what that format is.
Sounds good. Okay, that was a helpful answer. Thank you. Yancy, would you actually then forward to the slide that has the overview of the HeroX platform website? And then I'll also just ask Kyla, are there any other last minute guidelines that you would give them for submission? Any kind of last minute questions that you tend to receive?
I think this one is just to start early. So don't leave it until the very last minute. When we will always receive an entry that comes in like 1 minute before the deadline, and don't let that be you. You don't want to have a slow internet connection or anything like that get in your way. So I would suggest making sure you give yourself ample time. And like I said earlier, start early, get used to the format prior to your submission.
Very helpful. Any other questions for the group? Okay, well, I'll just make another plug for the wrap-up workshop. We're just in the process of planning the wrap-up workshop now, and we, like I mentioned, we will be sharing more details with you through the HeroX platform and through other media coming forward in the next couple of days, but it is September 22nd and 23rd, and it will be a virtual format. We're really excited because we are planning some great keynote speakers, both in the public safety and in more of the technical spaces that we think will be able to give you some good insights into the future contest going forward. We're planning also some more working sessions where we'll be able to share some additional information on the data, the test harness, give you some insights into that. And then, like I say, a little bit more on the public safety operational side. I think you'll get some really good benefits, and we're working on trying to adopt some of the latest virtual practices that we're all learning a little bit from on how to collaborate a little bit on these virtual platforms. I think we're all used to these in-person wrap-up workshops and the value that we get from being able to exchange ideas with our colleagues and maybe find some new teammates or find some new approaches, new expertise to add to the team and to forward practices. So we're excited to find ways to do that in this new virtual environment. And we think that as we've been in this for 6 months or more now, we're all starting to adapt a little bit more to that. I see that Cassandra has corrected me that it's the 23rd and 24th. So thank you, Cassandra. And then I'll also say that it will be right now we're planning the 2 days. The first day will be a bit of that high level information, and we'll also get into some of the details for contest 2 that you can all start considering. It's going to be a bit more of a challenging contest itself. Moving into the what we've been calling the innovation to algorithm to innovation to algorithm rhythm that we're getting into with these challenges and contests, and we're excited to get into an algorithm contest with contest 2. So we're excited to do whatever we can to help bring you together to exchange ideas. The second day will be focused much more on some pretty specific technical discussions, and we'll have a variety of breakouts throughout the day. So we're excited to get everyone involved in those, and it will give you an opportunity, I think, to exchange ideas with people maybe you are familiar with, but then also give you a chance to exchange with people that might not be in your direct field of work, so that you can start to collaborate on those whole of system solutions. With that, Cassandra, is there anything else on the wrap-up workshop that people should know about and start thinking about?
I think that you covered it, Tara. I think that all of that sounded good. I would just mention that we have a couple of breakout sessions that we're really excited about to bring in some subject matter experts and kind of help foster some good discussions between some very specific topic areas related to the ASAP's challenge. But I think that you covered it.
Super. So like I say, we'll be sending out more of information on that, where you can register and the process for getting involved in that. So with that, does anyone have any final questions before we wrap up? Okay, well, I will just say that if you do have any questions over the next few days, the HeroX platform is the place to go. There are ways for you to ask your questions there. I know many of you I have seen who have joined us today. I have seen you submit your questions or comments through that. So thank you so much for your involvement. And Jeff, do you have any wrap-up words?
I would just like to say that, we're, really excited about the completion of contest 1 and the submissions. I think everybody's been looking forward to the ideas that, industry is going to be able to provide against this. And I also think that making the data set available, now that we have the data, we're in the process of doing the annotation, synchronizing all of the different modalities and streams together. And I think getting that complete and making those available for all of you, I think will really start to define what the contest 2 is all about. It'll all be embodied within that data set. I think it'll start spurring a lot of really good questions from you all. And I know that NIST is really excited about including your ideas and views as we pursue the kind of the final designs of the next contest. We've got a lot of that's been developed in terms of what these respective tasks will be in the next contest associated with the data. And as we start, defining these and building out and making available the test harness, we're going to, really be inclusive, reaching out to you all and making sure that we, incorporate some of your thoughts and ideas and concerns or whatever they might be, so that the contest will be kind of the best that it can be and the easiest for you guys to kind of execute within.
Hey, Jeff. Well, thank you. I just want to say that welcome to everybody again to being on the ASAP, a member of the ASAP's team. As we wrap up here, you've heard from a number of us today who have come together to be a part of this ASAP's team, between Jeff and Kyla and Cassandra and myself. So we really do consider this a team approach, and we're looking forward to you being a part of that team going forward. I want to just then also finish up. We've had Craig Connolly join us here, and I'll just give you an opportunity, Craig. He is the contest administrator, the challenge administrator from NIST PSCR. So Craig, if you have any wrap-up comments, thanks for joining.
I'm sorry for everyone for joining a little late. I know that the team has walked you through all the kind of final details around how to submit your entries. On the NIST side and the PSCR side, we're just so grateful for all the hard work that the teams have put in. And we know this is sort of the final lap on the racetrack, if you will, for contest one. And we are very excited to kick off the review in a few days to start looking through all of the excellent submissions that contestants are creating. And we wish everyone the best of luck as they get through the kind of the last hurdles, and strongly encourage everyone to submit by the deadline so that we can kick off the review process. So I just want to express a gratitude and thank all the contestants, Tara, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, and we did, in the meantime, we did get one more question. The question is, can we frame assumptions of possible world in our solution, since we don't know much about the actual data set yet? Craig, you want to take that one?
The assumptions piece is interesting. I think there are some really specific restrictions around the use of the data regarding biometrics, facial recognition, and those sorts of things. I'd strongly encourage contestants to review and understand those restrictions in light of kind of like the privacy filter, as well as sort of ethical use filter and things like that. So I think as the assumptions are being made around kind of what information you might have access to, keeping those things in mind will be very important. And I do know that we have not yet as a team released like a meta data tag or an example data set and things like that. So if the assumptions are more around this is the format of like this sort of data stream and this is how we're thinking about it, I think those assumptions are valuable in explaining the thought process, which is part of the evaluation process for reviewers. So I think reasonable assumptions that are in light of those filters around privacy and the restrictions that I had mentioned, as well as sort of connectivity to explaining why that assumption is being made and then how that furthers your thought would be reasonable at this time.
Super. Okay, it seems like that was a helpful answer. Super. Well, with that, I look forward to seeing your submissions later this week, and we'll look forward to getting together with you again at the wrap-up workshop in September. Thanks, everyone.